Good morning and welcome to my live stream, Fight CPS, with your host, Bob Pace, and Hang On to Our Children. I'm so glad that you've come to this live stream to hopefully learn some things that can help you with your CPS case. Now, I start off with the letters CPS. I'm talking about a government entity that is found in every county in every state and also around the world. I've spoken to over 21 countries now, from Indonesia to Bangladesh to India to the Middle East to Saudi Arabia and Libya, and then over to Africa, to Liberia, to Sudan, to Rwanda, to Mozambique, and then over to several provinces in South Africa. Then I've talked to up to Europe, to England, Scotland, and Wales, and Denmark and Sweden. Then over the pond to North America, I've talked to 4 provinces in Canada. And then I've talked to all 50 states, and including the District of Columbia, Washington, D.C. Then south the border of Mexico, and then in South America, Grenada. Then over the South Pacific to New Zealand, and then down under to Australia, 2 states there. It's over 1,000 people that I've talked to, by texting or even phone calling. And yes, people from other countries have called me. Several ladies from South Africa, country code 27, and then a lady up in England, country code 44. Then over to Canada and Mexico, they have called. So that is a good representation, but something that the people in the United States and the people in the other countries have in common is they run amok a rogue CPS entity. Not all CPS are doing what their job is supposed to do. Now, what I call my definition of CPS is the Child Protection Systems. Every county, every country, everything may have a different name. Like I know in Los Angeles County, it's called the Department of Children and Family Services. In Arizona, it's called the Department of Children's Services. And in Kentucky, it's called the Cabinet. In fact, in Orange County, the case where I had a case with CPS is the Child Protection Services. So make it simple across the board, whether I'm in Illinois or talking in Oklahoma or in Canada or in New Zealand. I just say CPS, the Child Protection System. So it's a government entity that was created by the government, and in the United States it was mandated by Congress to protect our children from neglect or abuse. It has a long history of protecting our children in the United States. It started in the 1600s in the pre-state period, in the colonial period, when people were settling in the United States. There was a case that was recorded back in 1600 about a small boy being abused. So over the 1600s, 1700s, and the 1800s, it's been pretty much by groups, societies, or people that are wealthy enough and they really care about children. One of the hardest times for children was around the period of 1875 when we were putting the Native Americans, the first immigrations, onto reservations, because we as outsiders that came to the United States. We are now, if you're born here, you're a Native American. Everybody's a Native American that's born here. But the Indians were the first. They migrated from Asia over Alaska, settled in Canada and North America, United States, and then down into Mexico further south. And as the Spanish were exploring the Indians, the Spanish created a group called the Mexicans south of the border. Anyway, migrations of people have been happening around the world, and we do try to take care of our people. But in 1875, the first immigrations were put on reservations, and they were trying to assimilate. It was really hard because their way of a nomadic lifestyle was interfering with the progress of the very powerful and rich, a lot of them Europeans, but they're from China and other places, but they're migrating and settling, and there's conflicts against there. Anyway, their children were placed into special schools, and they were harshly treated. The hair was cut. Their native heritage was eliminated. They could not speak the language or practice their ways. So it was a sad period of time for those children. Then I know in the 1920s, we had trouble with labor of our children. Too many children were pressed into labor and working long hours and so forth. So again, it was addressed. And CPS is divided 3 time periods. From 1600 to 1875 was the first time period of protecting children, and from 1875 to 1962 was the second time. And from 1962 is the modern era of child protection and neglect. And in 1974, laws were passed that children were protected. And then in 1978, we had the Indian Child Welfare Act, which no longer forced the children to no longer be with their families. It was if they were registered as a Native American Indian by one of the 548 federal registration tribes, that they would be turned over to the reservation, and the reservation would turn them over to an Indian family that would do reunification and get them back with their other family. So Indian children were finally protected in 1978, almost 100 years after the Native American Indians were forced onto reservations. Now, I've given you kind of a history a little bit, only to change the flavor of this live stream. It is hard every time to come on this live stream to try to talk about something different. I need to talk about child protection system and how I can help you, and how bad some of the systems are. There are still good systems. I've had several social workers come on here and talk about their CPS, and it was a positive. It's nice to hear from, but I don't hear from any more. I've heard about a total of 5 so far, and we have one of our regulars. Her name is Betty Jo, and she's from Montana, and she is a foster care mom, and she's a good foster care mom. In fact, recently she took in a 4-year-old abandoned child whose parents were killed in an automobile accident on Fridays several months ago. And he's now being adopted into one of the family members, but he still calls his foster mom and says hello and stuff. So she's the kind of foster care that I really believe in. There are good foster care and bad foster care, good CPS and bad CPS. In fact, she was trying to take in her son's daughter, and her son's daughter's her niece, and she had made the proper arrangements. She had gone through the ICPC, which is called the Interstate Compact for Placement of Children, and she had transported the child from from Nebraska all the way to Montana safely. And the child was starting to live with her. And then abruptly, the foster parents, where that child was put into, uh, brought up that there may be anxiety that this 4-year child has bonded too much with the foster parents. So they got the judge to reverse the order and take the child back. And so Betty Jo is trying to fight to get her niece back to her. And it's really a traumatic experience to have the carpet pulled from underneath you. There are so many stories. There's Margaret, um, Amanda, um, Nisha, K.K. Richardson from New York. And it's like an up and down. Things are where the rug is pulled underneath there. And I have some of you that are actually doing live stream like I am. I know KK Richardson does her live stream on Mondays at 5:30. I think that's East Coast time. But anyway, we're in here to help you. I'm here to help you. I seem like I've dedicated now 17 months, twice a day, to try to help you, to talk to you, to listen to you, to understand your text messages. In fact, to have you call. There are several ways to interact in this room. One is just by listening and sending emojis. Another one is texting questions or comments about CPS. Another one is to um, be a guest on my podcast. I can take up to 9 guests. And then the last one is to call in to my phone number when I'm ready to take the phone calls. So those are ways you can interact here. Also, I have 5 rules I can share with you. Rule number 1 is you have to get a professional juvenile law, family law, dependency law attorney. And that's the key to your success. And then rule number 2 is to do a documentation in the form of a notebook and creating a very important um, time log list of events called the incidents. Anytime you have incidents with the police, the social workers at CPS, or the school, you can write down the incidents. And then rule number 3 is not to open your door, not to answer your door, and to be quiet and not speak to social workers or the police. I'll talk more in depth about how that works. Also, you have to watch out the medical trafficking by CPS, whether your children is taken in to urgent care or the emergency room of the hospital, or you're going to have a baby and you come to the hospital. There's bad things that happen, and I'll talk more about that. Then rule number 4 is how to use the internet, the proper placement of wording, and so you get the right results. And then rule number 5 is to make a copy of your important documents and put them together with your notebook of your documentation. So those are the 5 rules. I send to them pretty quick. I know in a lot of my live streams I talk about them in depth, and I will if time permits. But my focus is on you, to help you. So if you want to be a guest on my live stream or to call in, do so. Also, I love to hear comments so that I can talk on the subjects you want to talk about, not necessarily about my case, which I will share with you. Mine was this horrible CPS case that ended in revenge by a social worker that committed perjury. So I've touched a little bit about um, what this live stream's about. And I have my regular people that come in twice a day. So there are 25 to 30 regular people that I've met on here. Also, a lot of you have wanted to be retained by my attorney, Vincent Davis. Now, Vincent Davis is the one that created this live streams, and many thanks goes to him. And right now, um, uh, he has been practicing fighting CPS and getting children back for 39 years. He's professionally licensed in uh, juvenile law, family law, dependency law. He's a trial attorney, and he also does civil lawsuits. When your case is over, he can help you with a civil lawsuit and sue CPS both in state court and in federal court. And he's won back. He's won back millions of dollars. So he's the real deal. He should be one of the attorneys that you want to interview and see about hiring and getting a retainer. And I'll give you more information. There are ways you can talk to him for free. There are ways you can talk to him for free, and one's for a little bit of money too. So there's those there too. Now let me tell you more. You found me on Facebook fighting CPS, and I'm glad you did. And I have right now 7 rooms that are coming from Facebook. They're linked to this room, which is a YouTube room that I'm broadcasting on. So that's a total of 8 rooms. And I use StreamYard as a software application to do this live stream. And I warmly welcome you again. If this is your first time visit, a lot of this information is a lot too, and you may have to listen to me 2 or 3 times. But I'll be here. I'm on 7 days a week, every day of the week. I do not take time off for holidays. And I've been doing this now for 17 months. And I've talked to over 1,000 people. And my live streams are recorded so you can later watch them. So if you miss something or you need to go back, you can see it. There are other live streams. Vincent Davis does several of them. KK Richardson does one on Mondays. There's other ones that are on. And an easy way to find out what's going on, or they get information, or how they get guides, or how they retain Mr. Davis, is I have a very important number. It's called 888-6582. That's the law office of Vincent Davis. And that's where you can get guides and books and stuff that he's written. He has one book out, a brand new book. It's called The Grandparents Guide in California to get guardianship of your grandkids, a step-by-step guide. And that's available right now for $9.99. And in fact, if you use my discount code, PACE, P-A-C-E, all capitalized, 50, you'll get 50% off the $9.99. And there's a lot of specials that he has on his website. You need to go to vincentwdavis.com. His website has everything on there. It has connections to things. It has special rates. He has 5-hour rates. He has 30-minute rates. He has, consultant fees and so forth. He will help you. He'll go to any state, and he will help you. So that is a good number. Make sure when you call that number, 888-888-6582, you tell him that Bob Pace sent you. And if you ever do speak to Mr. Davis, make sure you tell him that Bob Pace sent you. It's important that he knows that I'm encouraging you all and helping you all. And it is a hard thing to come up with something new or different or anything on that may be said. But I'm here to help you. Now, I was telling you I was on 7 days a week. My times are Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's the West Coast. And then in the evening, I'm on at 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And then on the weekends, I'm on at 8 o'clock in the morning. And then at evening, I'm on at 7 o'clock in the evening. All those times are West Coast times because I'm residing in California. I'm in Surf City, USA, 3 blocks from the beach, doing this live stream. And I really care about you and really want to help you deal with something that is very traumatic in your life. It's a traumatic experience to be involved with this government entity because you don't know what to expect. None of us went through school learning about CPS. In fact, I think the life skills and schooling have ceased and desist. I know in the early 60s, I had a life school thing where they talked about drugs and smoking. And that message worked. I learned that drugs are not healthy. If you want to play sports, you don't do drugs. You want to play sports, you don't smoke. So I never tried smoking. I didn't have to do it. And I did not try drugs, even though I was born. My teenage years were in the 60s. I went to Woodstock in August of 69. So I've been at the forefront of a lot of things. But it was taught to me in junior high. But after that, I saw no more other life skills. I've heard about some of the high schools would have kids carry pillows to assimilate about pregnancy, to make them think about um, not getting pregnant, using protection, and certainly not using abortion to eliminate a child just for birth control. That's wrong. That's wrong. Um, so you may say, well, gee, he's anti-abortion or he's pro-abortion. I'm neither. I'm actually on the fence. There's some things I like about either one. And I just think it's a woman's choice. And it should be a couple's choice about what they decide with the child. A child is the most precious thing. And, if you get pregnant and have a child, which a lot of you did early on, like some of you were in foster care and have children, and it's a bad thing. It's really a bad thing because they tried to steer you into uh, terminating the birth. You should be able to give up for adoption if you don't want to take care of the child. I know firsthand, my wife had a baby through no choice of her own. She was raped at the age of 16. And he's grown up to be a nice boy. He was placed for adoption. He later came back in his 20s. So, I want to make sure that I keep hearing. We'll make sure that I'm on. Um, I have somebody from the area code. If you're in my room, I don't know, but area code 210, and you want to talk on my show. Hi there, Tony Tiger from New York State. You're on last night, and I'm glad. You're going to call in tonight. Will you be live streaming then? Because my uh, my phone magically doesn't work. CPS has traumatized my family like the last court case before the one let me see. I'm okay. Well, first of all, Tony the Tiger, welcome to my live stream. And yes, you can call in anytime. Um, I need to put my number up so you can call in. Now, I've told you about how I'm on 14 times a week. And so if you miss something or you want to talk, there's ample time to do so. There's ample time to do so. Now, I do want to talk about, let me see, we got some more comments coming in. Tony says, oh, wow, you've hit me with a lot of comments here. I got to play catch up here. Now, currently, you're in CPS and they have blackmailed me and keep getting court appointed lawyers that are against me. So, last court case, I threatened my last lawyer. Let's not use names on the live stream with the Bar Association. Let me talk to you about court appointed attorneys. Court appointed attorneys. You see, it's your constitutional right to always be represented by legal counsel through the legal proceedings. Now, the problem with CPS is they're court appointed attorneys, they're hired by CPS, and their court appointed attorneys are not trained in the areas of juvenile law, family law, or dependency law. They're only trained in criminal law. Criminal law attorneys don't handle cases in dependency court. They don't have the expertise. You need somebody with juvenile law, family law, and dependency law background. And so they're kind of useless. Also, since they work for CPS, they won't fight for your case. They work for CPS. And on top of that, they are so indented, they're so burdened with 30 or more clients, they don't have time to talk to you outside of court or at their office or what to be. So with a court appointed attorney, you're helpless. That's why you need the real deal. Now, you can go to the court appointed office in that courtroom, in that court, and ask them for another court appointed attorney if you don't like the one you got, or tell them that you get your own attorney. You don't have to use court appointed attorneys. That's a trick that CPS uses. And in your case, there's a lot. I don't know what city in New York you're from, but I know KK Richardson in Brooklyn, New York, has a terrible time. And she actually went and got a law degree, and then she hired an attorney, and it's a real attorney. She does not use court-appointed attorneys. Also, you should be speaking through your counsel, and your counsel speaks to the counsel of CPS. You should not speak to CPS. You should not meet with them. You should not talk to them. You should not follow anything they're saying unless your attorney advises you to do so. You need to have your attorney present when you talk to CPS. You need to be careful what you sign. You do need to be respectful and do the things they want, even though they not be true. It's not a bad idea to do the parenting classes or the programs they put you on there. They're going to try to test you for drugs. They're going to try to do all kinds of things to intimidate you. The bad CPS are out there that make money. They make trillions of dollars of money. So you got to be careful about that. So I'm just trying to tell you, now you say the CPS is blackmailing. What are they blackmailing you about? Currently in CPS blackmail me, and I keep getting court-appointed lawyers. Okay, you repeated that twice. Okay, I got that. And again, I know you're from New York State, and you will call tonight. And yes, I will be live streaming. And I'm sorry about the phone. And again, you say I'm from New York State. I'll call in tonight. Somehow, you're repeating the same thing. So you've done it 3 times. Hopefully, it's not my end, and it's your end or something there. Tony the Tiger says, they filed appeal once. My case got accepted by appeals court. So you've been in the system for a while. Dropped everything like it never happened and didn't tell anyone. In turn, I got custody as my son's back. Took forever to get his school enrolled. Well, then that's good news. Um, wow. Filed appeals once my case got accepted by the appeals court. Dropped. Okay, that's repeating. Somehow your thing is repeating. Um, I'm from New York. I will call in tonight. Yeah, I got that. Tony, I don't know if something wrong with your phone or something there, but I got the message, and I appreciate you calling in, Tony the Tiger, and anybody else that's listening. Now, I had started to talk about what CPS is. I gave you a little history of it, but um, it was mandated in the United States by Congress, sent a message to social services to create a system to protect our children from neglect and abuse. So they created the child protection system. As I said, they have many different names. But not only are they supposed to protect you from neglect or abuse, they're supposed to help out families in need in the areas of food, shelter, clothing, transportation, medical, and educational, and even help you find a job. And furthermore, if they need to take your child because they're in extreme danger or being harmed, um, they need to do what's called family reunification. It is proven studies that the biological parents, the mother and father, are the best parents to raise a child. They're the ones that created the child, that gave birth, and have that connection of, hey, I created something from a gene from me and a gene from my wife, and we have a baby together. Now, I should be careful about using the word wife because a lot of you have babies that aren't married. I'm not sitting here to say you need to be married or not be married. You can have a partnership, a boyfriend, girlfriend, or maybe you're just lovers and it happened that way. Um, the best idea, of course, is be married because there's laws that will help you if you're married. And also, it's a more solid commitment. Now, a lot of you are probably trying to go through divorce or separation, whatever. You should try to make your marriage. There was some spark that got you together. You need to recreate that spark. You need to learn about timeouts, go for walks, come back and talk about things. You got to watch your hot tempers. Domestic violence is common along a lot of the children being taken. You're angry because of bills not being paid. Or maybe your spouse did something by um, seeing somebody else or attempting to do something there. Marriage is hard. There's no marriage book given to you. And again, it's a life skill that should be taught, in high school and in college. Life skills should be taught as a class for every year and of your education. If you're in preschool, there should be a life skill class. If you're in prep K or kindergarten, there should be a life skill class. If you're in elementary school, grades 1 through 5, there should be a life skill class. And the same thing goes for for high school and in college. You'd put the different life skills that are more appropriate for the age levels. At early ages, bullying is a common problem among young children. One child tries to mask the other child. So bullying should be talked about and everything. When you're in junior high, you have to start talking about sex. Yes, kids know about sex when they're in the middle school. And that's the 6th grade, the 7th grade, and the 8th grade. Now, in high school, you need to still talk about sex and dating and so forth. And also, you need to talk about marriage because some people get married right out of high school. And in college, you should talk about marriage and divorce and CPS. You should hear about CPS when you're in high school because you may not go on to college. And things like doing a checkbook in high school or a savings account or those kinds of things, those are important skills that are life skills and they should be incorporated down there. And Tony the Tiger says she's in Onita, New York. I have no idea. That's a new one for me. Onita. I don't know if that's the city or your county, but I thank you for sharing that with me. How close is that to Brooklyn, New York, or New York City? I know there's Long Beach in New York. There's New York City. Um, I think there's a place called Union, which is a skiing resort in New York because I gone skiing there. So I'm familiar with a lot of places because I've lived in about 10 countries. I've traveled to about 50 countries. Some of them as much as 25 times, and I have pretty much I've lived in 5 states and pretty much been to all the United States and its territories. I've been to Guam. That's where I learned at the age of 7, um, where I refined my surfing skills. I actually learned it in Hawaii in my travels to the South Pacific. So um, I think that life skills is so important, and CPS is one of the things because you're not prepared, and you certainly are getting buffaloed, and like Tony the Tiger, they're doing blackmail. I don't know what the blackmail is about, but maybe they have something on you and they're trying to twist your arm. It's okay. You seem to be doing okay now. It's not repeating. It's okay. An easy way to solve a phone problem is to reboot your phone. 99% of the time, your problem will be better if you just reboot the phone. A lot of us forget that. But if you reboot the phone, it automatically goes to its original settings. It's a touch phone. And when you touch the screen, things will happen just like, with your mouse on the computer or your touch screen on the computer. Sometimes things happen. Like I have a bug in my computer, and I don't know if it's my motherboard that is fried or there's some type of virus. I've had myself virus several times. I did do the long virus check, and there was one that was I able to isolate, but I still don't know what the problem is because my cursor jumps and moves around, and I can't type, and I have to hit escape a bunch of times, and then it'll open up 20 or 30 or 40 windows. Sometimes it takes me a long time to sign on and wait very patiently. It's an old computer. I need a new computer. It's like the phone. I just got a new phone, and I was really surprised. The, the fee they were offering is almost nothing to get a new phone. It's not the top of the line phone. It's a Samsung 24 FE, but it's the fans' favorite. And so far, I'm 100% happy with it. I have, when I worked, had an Apple phone, an Apple i8, and it was okay. It was not, but I still think I prefer the Samsung. But everybody has their own. I'm not sitting here trying to promote one or another. I'm just saying a phone is an important part of your life. We rely so much on the phone. I'm able to do so much. I can make my calls. I can fill out forms. I can email people to help you because what not only do I do on the live stream here, I also call potential new clients, people that want to hire Mr. Davis. I will talk to them and help them. So I'm on the phones from 8 in the morning to 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific time, and then again from 11 o'clock in the morning to 1 o'clock in the afternoon. That's 4 hours a day, Monday through Friday, that I do phone calling. And then I do my live stream, which is 14 hours a week. So between the two, I'm really busy, and it takes a lot of energy there. But Tony, you're going to do fine, and just reboot your phone and see if that helps. But I only emphasize the life skill because this talking about CP is one of the life skills that I can talk about. There's other life skills I can talk about that can help you because we're in what's called the circle of life. I got a lot from the Lion King. That's where I got the circle of life, and how the father taught his son, the the older lion and so forth, and the other people that were in the movie. But that was an excellent movie that talk about how you grow up helpless, but then you learn and you develop. And the thing is, you want to be positive on this world. you want to leave something behind and you want to be positive. And if me helping you help you, that's great. I do a lot of volunteer. I've done over 50 years with the American Red Cross. I've done Boy Scouts over 50 years. And, I've done a lot of things in sports, in football, and in soccer, and rugby, and baseball, and surfing. Those are the sports that I do. And even sailing, too. It's like I'm well diverse. I've had so many different jobs, from being an ocean lifeguard to a killer whale trainer, a marine mammal trainer, and then manager of a seafood restaurant at the Chart House. And then, of course, a marine biologist, which is my love and my profession. And then lately has been a civil engineer, building roads and highways, generating work, and being a project manager and a project inspector. So I've done it a lot of versatilities with jobs. So I have a lot to share. And so I want to tell you something about uh, this live stream that's really important for you all to hear. Uh, at the bottom of my screen, I want you to subscribe, if you can, to the YouTube channel, CPS Defense Strategies Consultant Vince Davis. The reason being is that it takes a lot of money to put this live stream together and to help you all and repeatedly come back. And so we're starting a newsletter. For $1.99, you can subscribe to the YouTube channel and you'll get a newsletter. And then in the newsletter will be stories from me, Bob Pace, and stories from Vincent Davis. He will talk about how to fight CPS and win, and he'll talk about how to get your child back and how to sue CPS. He has lots of things. He has authored a lot of books and a lot of things. Also, we'll look into the lives of me and Vince Davis and other people that appear on here to help you all out there. Vincent Davis is wants to help you. In order to do so, he needs your help. Now, I know there are stars that you can send me, which is great. I appreciate the stars, and also appreciate the emojis, the hearts, and the thumbs up, and the smiling faces. And please check below to follow me. I'd love for you to follow me and put any reviews you care to put in there. Also, if you want to be notified when I'm live, check the notification button. Check the notification button. So please subscribe, help us out, and thank you for coming to the live stream. Now, I have my phone number up in case someone wants to call. I'm going to take it down for a moment now and talk about the sorry. I have to get the right banners here. I try to put them in order. Okay. I got a banner up there that talks about texting, and when you send a message or a comment, a question, it's got to be pertained to there. Hello, Call Unplug. I'm sorry, not Cal. Call or California. I think that stands for California Unplug. He says, or she says, oh, it's a she. I've talked to you before. My grandfather left something behind, but the entire corrupt CPS and official people stole assets, split it. It changed their last name for his last name. I'm a little confused. I think you're talking about the will of your grandfather, and somehow CPS got a hold of it and has taken money, or family members have taken family members. And I'm sorry about that and about how CPS can be. Please talk to me further about that, California Unplugged. And again, Tony, try again on your phone and see if it works better there. And so when you send in a text message, all I ask is your first name and your city or county you're from, and then also your state. And if you're from one of the 21 countries or other countries, please list your country. And try to be complete with your CPS case the first time you text in, because I need to know everything from the start to where you're at the moment. You don't have to be detailed, but you need to tell some basics: what children involved, what kind of relationship that your family has, you and your other half, and your children, and then how did CPS take your children, if they did take your children, and what is the latest situation that you're in, and so forth. So that is real important that you can text in. There's no question about that. Now, besides texting in, um, I can you can also be a guest on my live stream. When typing a message, either CPS comments. Oh, I already got that. I'm sorry. The next one. Please be a guest on my live stream. And that's just by emailing Grace, the producer. She does a lot of hard work, and I appreciate her and what she's doing, and so forth. Um, okay, let me see here. Um, it's a simple email. You just pick, I want to be in Bob's Sunday morning show or Bob's Friday night show. That's all you have to send her. And she'll send you a link to SteamYard that you get on. And if you get knocked off, use the link again. And she'll tell you what to say and what you can do on the live stream. We don't allow eating or smoking on the live stream, and not the use of names, but she'll give you more details and so forth. So that's about live streaming to Grace. I want to thank her for her hard work making this live stream possible. And again, her email is grace@vincentwdavis.com. I'm going to put my phone number back up so that if you want to call, there's still time to call there. I'm getting low on my show. I just looked at the clock and it's slowly ticking late. I go to 11 o'clock, and I guess I've been talking too much. I have a tendency to love to talk, but I really want you guys to do the talking. I want you guys to do the talking. Um, I've addressed Tony the Tiger and California Unplugged. And I believe California Unplugged is from California with a name like that. And it's a horrible case that you have. And Tony's from New York, from a city called Oneida, New York. I don't know if that's an Indian name or not, but I welcome you all. I haven't really seen any of my regulars this morning, which is a first. They're usually on every morning, every night, but it's hard. It's hard to be on this live stream, and so forth, like that. Now, I think I've talked real quickly about my rules. I've talked about how they interact on this podcast, and I've talked about the history of CPS and what CPS is all about. But keep in mind the importance of it, because CPS is like open heart surgery. If you're doing open heart surgery, you yourself are not going to cut open your chest cavity and take your heart out. You're not going to have your neighbor or a common person. You're going to get a professional, licensed doctor. Same goes for fighting CPS. You need a professional attorney. I know it's a terrible feeling that you have to spend, say, $10,000, $25,000, $50,000 of legal fees. I spent a hell of a lot because I wanted my family back together. In fact, it was so important, I quick sold my home. I did a quick sale, lost half of its profits. I sold it for what I paid for. And that's a sad state of affairs. I was able to pay off my first and second, and I had money left over to hire Mr. Davis. I strongly encourage you to have a real attorney, because I was going nowhere the first year of my case. I've been fighting them since 2010. First 5 years of false accusations. Then finally, they hired a detective and tracked me down and ordered me to open my house up and brought all these 20, 30 people to investigate my house to find something. They couldn't find anything wrong. They were on a revenge mode. And to this day, I still don't understand the revenge mode. I'm well recognized in the city of Huntington Beach. My name is engraved in the sidewalk there. So, you know, I don't know if it's somebody that doesn't like you or whatever it is, but I'm a caring, loving husband and a father. I've been married for over, I have marriage experience of over 42 years, and I have 6 children that I've helped raise. 3 are older and 3 are younger. And it's my 3 younger ones that were taken and trafficked into foster care illegally. They weren't in danger. And I had a rogue CPS. And I fought the director all the way to the top. And all he showed me was his Taj Mahal office building that he lived in. And it looked like the Emerald City, the Wizard of Oz. It was green. And it was a terrible, terrible. It's trying to deal with somebody that goes in one ear and goes out his other ear. He doesn't listen, doesn't help. And that was the director of CPS in Orange County. It is corrupt, and I hope Doge investigates it because it's ridiculous. They're getting $20,000 per child per month. For my 3 children, that's $60,000. And it took me 3 years when they illegally trafficked my children into foster care. And I didn't get them back for 3 years. But it's thanks to Mr. Davis. And unfortunately, one of my child, it was sad. She was coached at the age of 12 by the social worker who was taking revenge on us because we had caught her in perjury. She had lied on her oath, and she was so embarrassed that she told us that you'll never see your daughter again. And so she informed our daughter, you need to emancipate. That means divorce your mom, your dad, your 3 brothers, your 2 sisters, your grandparents, both sets of them, aunts and uncles and cousins. It was sad. And then she changed her name, and she took her complete name, and her real name was Hanalei. Most beautiful, beautiful name for a middle name. And then she sealed her birth certificate that she was no longer born to us. And she got a new birth certificate, put the foster care family on the birth certificate, and got a new Social Security card. So she was double dipped for Social Security out of my retirement. My retirement benefits I was getting from my 3 children, my young children, because I was all over the age of 62 and collecting Social Security. They wanted to help me with my kids. And so they do that. But she had one card that would automatically taken out, $1,000 a month or something like that. And then she got a second card, so she was getting $2,000 a month. If Social Security found out that social service was allowing that to happen, there'd be definitely a war on, because that is wrong. The Child Protection Service is a part of social service, part of the healthcare system. And, you can appeal to them at the state level, to the civil rights coordinator or the ombudsperson, or you can go to the federal government. Now, I'm starting to go over my time now. It's 11 o'clock, and so my podcast has to end. And so I need to go back to my phone calling. So God bless you all, and thank you, California Unplugged and Tony the Tiger, for sharing your story with me. And thank you all for listening. Keep fighting for your kids. And this is Bob Pace signing off. I'll see you tonight.